Cadet Log Entry 20. While tuning up my spacecraft for another most dangerous ever assignment, I received a call from Taskmaster M. My mission? To save the galaxy from my arch rival, the Nemesis. I had my sights set on success, until I was in the sights of her heat ray!
Rat! Where'd that space cadet go? What the?
Oh, shoot!
Now, get out of my space!
Really? Why should I listen to you?
Because I
am your sister.
No!
You're in trouble now, Space Cadet. I'm telling.
Ah! I'm going down! Oh no! This monster's gonna eat me for dinner!
I may have burned it a little. What happened here?
Can someone say dinner?
Hello and welcome to Collaboratory, the show where Mike Morris improvises an animatic with a little help from our audience, and we learn about the craft of storyboarding along the way. Mike, how's it going?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I want to let our audience know this is an improv art stream that runs on audience suggestions. So, Mike, what kinds of prompts are we looking for from the audience?
Well, for like every collaboratory, we are looking for three things. We are looking for at least two characters, preferably not more than two characters, a setting, and a conflict, which is happening either between those two characters. We've had conflicts between characters and their environment. We've had conflicts between characters and some sort of mechanical device, right? We had that before?
Yeah.
So the classic types of conflicts apply here.
That's right. And if you're watching this live on Twitch or on YouTube, please enter your suggestions for characters, a setting, and a conflict in the chat, and whatever you type might show up on screen. And to give our viewers some inspiration, our most recent episode featured a bachelor party with a, hopefully, non-copyright infringing family of costume crime fighters. And I can't wait to see what our audience comes up with today.
Yeah, that was interesting. And then we had a very smiley person that was causing trouble for them.
Of course. And while we wait for suggestions to come in, Mike, what do you enjoy most about the craft of storyboarding?
I think the thing that I enjoy the most about boarding and animation and stuff is just seeing things sort of come to life. I love, to quote a prominent member of the A-team, I love it when a plan comes together. It's just very rewarding to watch something that you've done and it works and it feels like it's alive. It doesn't feel like it's, like put upon. That's something I really enjoy about animation as a whole. Drawings that feel like they're living.
I remember talking to some artists at the Ottawa International Animation Festival, and one thing that I think was, it might have been Spencer Moreland or someone else, said that the moment they really enjoy most is when they can see the production after it's finished, and that feeling of, wait, we made this.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's also... What? So sorry.
Well, just sort of like the drawings that were in, Storyboard Pro became something that aired on TV is kind of a surreal feeling when you see like some of the sort of shorthand and rough sketches and the translation, how it becomes animated. It can be a really cool feeling.
Yeah, there was an old saying that we make drawings that move, and those drawings move our audience. Like that is kind of like so like a phrase, I guess, that we would use in animation a lot. Because like I think there is a sort of, I don't know if it's just a prevailing idea that animation is just like a thing for kids, or it's just something to sort of like disposable, but it's it's just a means of production, but it's filmmaking at its core still. It's filmmaking, and it is taking those ideas that we would normally incorporate into any kind of film, those human emotions, those universal ideas, or some sort of idea that you're trying to convey to an audience, and making sure that the audience feels what you're wanting them to feel, or sees what you want them to see, or what they see on screen makes them feel something. Filmmaking just a lot slower. It doesn't happen quite as fast as what happens in live action.
All right. So the first suggestion that we received is from Junk Drawer, which is for a conflict. A Bond-esque spy just got spotted by a kid in pajamas.
I think that's great. I think that's a winner. Okay.
The character is a suave Bond-ish spy. Setting could be a fancy party at a mansion, and I think this is a really good first suggestion. If anyone has any ideas on a twist to this, I think there might be room to explore this a bit more.
Like the kid's actually an international assassin in his own right. Okay, but we need to start with lavish party, right? So
yeah,
I think that is going to require a nice upshot. Let's get our guides out, shall we? And we'll pop in a new guide, and we'll do like a quick 3-point perspective, and we'll kind of go from there. So that's at the right angle here, but we need it up here, maybe a little bit like that. There we go. So one Shift and M later, we have something like this. And we can have our mansion party. Looks like we've got some errant perspective issues. Okay. I think I may have done the bird's eye view. We need a worm's eye view. That's the problem. Let's ditch that perspective. What we need is worm's eye view. And it's down there. There we go. Now that's a lot more palatable. So we're going to have some sort of outcropping. And I think also it's cool and opulent looking to have a sort of like a second tier up here. Almost like a, maybe not that drastic, but something maybe right in here, like that. And then we're going to give it a little perspective on this to put in a cool little balcony. And then I'm going to turn my perspective guide off and then freehand it right here to put in like a one of those like veranda type outcroppings. Again, we're going to do this fast so we can make sure that we have enough time for the rest of it. I'm telling you, folks, perspective guides, where it's at. This would have taken so much longer to set up otherwise.
Is there a perspective that you find is particularly challenging for you to draw?
Sometimes. I mean, doing background work, I feel like people sort of discount it as being simple, but it's not. I mean, some people find it a little simpler than others, and usually those people do become background artists. But like for me, I've always found backgrounds making them look like they belong in that setting to be a little bit more difficult.
And good backgrounds can do a lot of work in a scene. I mean, it can draw your eye to where something important is. It can have symbolic meaning. And like in a typical shot, a background takes up most of the frame.
Well, and there's always the concept of like the layout film, where the whole thing was basically just backgrounds and a camera moving through it. I mean, that concept became sort of popular in the late 60s and early 70s, is doing layout films. And like I remember seeing one in school that was The Telltale Heart, that was entirely a layout film. And not a lot of animation, but just really nice, very well done backgrounds that held it, that held the entire performance together. And you didn't feel like you were really missing anything because of it. Let's put like some cool embellishment here. Turn on our perspective guides again, and then add like the window dressing. Okay, so here we have, lit up mansion. Let's put another. Grab this drawing here, cut it, and then put it on layer A. Then on the background, we'll start doing a little bit of tone just to make sure that we can make that look really, really nice and fancy. So I'm going to use this little feature, which I love in Storyboard Pro 20, which is this fill-in feature that I can just draw, have it sort of fill in. Another thing that I think a lot of people don't know is that you can keep a continuous, like flat lines or like straight lines. If you just lay off the spacebar every so often, you can change directions. Okay, so we have that. Then we need something that's just a little bit smaller here. And let's go to this other brush, and we'll make it larger. Leave my cursor on there so you guys can see that it's getting bigger. There we go. And we'll just give a little something on there. So we're setting the mood, we're setting the tone of this. And then, of course, we need lights on. So let's just add some light in here. Sound also goes a long way in setting up the tone of something. For this case, I'd have some, party walla or something like that happening. It's where you hear like voices and people that sound like they're having fun, laughter, sounds of
clinking
dishes
glasses.
clanking, yeah. Add a little bit more feeling there, and then we'll put a little bit of an uplight on this. Also, opulence is told by uplit buildings. It's another technique that you can use.
I hadn't noticed that, but that's a good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uplit buildings, you can get a lot of, you can do a lot with a little bit of uplight on a building to make it look a little bit more opulent.
I've got a little bit of pareidolia going on where it sort of looks a bit like a face to me.
Yeah. Okay, let's go back to our brush that we had before. And we'll put just a little bit of railing right here. And then we'll delete or just erase all of this stuff in here. All right, so we have awesome looking mansion, and we're just going to add maybe some other elements of like nighttime clouds or something going on. And then maybe we'll do like some armed guards. That's always a good thing. We'll put some guards up here in silhouette, and they're doing rounds or looking over things. And then of course we need to add Mr. Bond, Mr. Well, we can't call him Bond, right?
Yeah, Bames John.
Copywritten material. What are we calling him?
Bames John?
Bames John? I don't know how I'm feeling about Bames John.
I'm feeling that. All right, chat,
not
we need some spy names.
Yes, chat, give us spy names. So he's on like an infiltration mission. Get the pen a little bit bigger. All right. So we'll have him step in. And I think we need to have him a little bit bigger in the foreground so we can see that this guy is kind of a big deal. Okay. Ooh, I forgot. Another thing we need to add to the background is some like palm trees or something, Something that makes this look even fancier, some sort of plant life. And sometimes you can make, brushes and things that are, we've done it for stars, I know. The sort of things that you can make more speckled stuff with. That's one of those. That would need a little bit of coaxing, but we're going to put just like some, opulent looking palm trees and such in the foreground. Make it look extra fancy. All right, excellent, cool. So we have the entrance of our hero, Mr. Not James Bond. Do we get anything better from the chat? as far as a good.
I think they're
spine.
still working on it.
Still working on it?
So once again, your mission, if you choose to accept this, is to give us a cool spy name.
Nice touch. Okay, so maybe a little bit of rim lead on this guy is a good idea. So we see that, like, you know, he's heading into here. And then let's cut to a down shot. So we'll just draw a little ground plane, a lighter color. And maybe some like foliage, or like he's coming out of the bushes, like he's been skulking and sneaking around. And
all right, we can't do Agent Sterling because that one is already taken. Mr. Band.
Band.
Jom's Band.
Make it Philip Frond from from Bob's Burgers. So we have the underbrush and such, maybe like in the shadow of a palm. So it looks like he's coming out from underneath something. And again, the caveat that I give for all collaboratories is these aren't going to be super stellar drawings all the time.
I mean, less than an hour is a very tight deadline.
Yep. All right, and we hardly ever really finish. So, and then we have this character.
And Mike, I wanted to ask you, as a professional with a career, responsibilities, deadlines, and changing roles and responsibilities, how do you hold on to the joy of drawing?
Well, to me, sometimes I have to change it up. You know, I think there's a definite benefit to what I like to call just like iconoclastic drawing. Like what kind of stuff do you do normally, and how can you do something that's different? Like if you're like normally drawing like, you know, cute stuff or, you know, things that are really charming, try drawing something that's like horrifying. You know, I think just switching things up is huge.
Kind of breaking out of a rut or a pattern.
Yeah, I think so. Let's put him in like normal, like infiltration spy gear. At first, he's got the rope around him. He's got, you know, the little bandolier with the pouches or whatnot. And, you know, like the knife that's on the shoulder for some reason. No, that's dumb. We're not going to do that. Nobody puts a knife on their shoulder. If you put it anywhere, it's going to be like right here, where it's like easily accessible. Because, you know, you have it down really fast. And we're going to give this just a tone underneath. And I'm going to pop this tone in. Actually, no, I'm going to use the feature that we were using before, this fill-in feature. So that saves a ton of time. And then him, we're going to make just a little bit darker up on here. So I'm going to do that on a different layer since we're in a hurry. And let's give him just a little bit of shadow that he's sort of dealing with. And then we can have him come out of it. And undo draw behind, because we always do need to see the eyes. So let's turn off the backlight. And then here we have our guy. For some reason, he's no longer in black. There we go. That looks better.
That's a cool effect.
Yeah. We'll grab these two and we'll move them back. Actually, we're just going to duplicate this by cutting it in half. Oops, we don't want to make it into a separate thing. All right. So let's just take this guy, and on the first part, we'll move him back like that and add some drawing bits. To the character. Put a pouch. We'll put his trusty service weapon right here, complete with silencer eventually. And he comes into the light, and we can do another little trick, which is to get out the cutter and to just cut the parts that you feel like you want to expose to the light a bit more. Then you just turn it the same color as the other that you have. Sometimes you have to remember which one that is. Okay, but then it looks like that. Come out. Cool. So then I think one more shot of this is what we need to have him just bust a little smile. And then what do you think about him like putting the silencer on right now?
Huh. So what is his game plan right now? He's gonna just try to take out the guards, or what?
I think so. I think it's a infiltrate, take out the guards, and then come in and find something that he wasn't expecting.
Okay,
I think that's the play.
yeah.
I think that's the play here. And then we find that when he gets up there, the whole. I think that's the twist, is that the whole landscape is changing. You figure.
Then I think that's.
You figure you're gonna find something that's ultimately evil up there, and you find that it's just a kid. But the kid is surrounded by, things that could wake up and basically murder him. So maybe he's got to put the kid back to sleep or something. All right, and here we go. I think let's simplify this a little bit, and instead of like having him put a silencer on, we'll just have him hold up his silenced. Well, not silenced, suppressed. That's the proper term. I don't think silencers actually exist, but they're suppressors. And that's another thing, when you are doing storyboards that involve maybe a topic you're not familiar with, such as firearms, it is a really good idea to learn all you can about that subject and study it, because there are going to be people out there, and the internet has shown this, that there are people that care about how things are portrayed, like every time, there's those videos you see, like a doctor breaks down this, scene, and they tell you how unrealistic it is, or in some cases how realistic it could be. And so as a board artist, I think it's incumbent upon us to really know like what we're doing when we do these boards.
You have a scene in space and someone's jettisoned out of an airlock and they instantly freeze, and then you have someone saying, well, space is a vacuum, so they wouldn't immediately freeze.
Yeah, it wouldn't take long, but it wouldn't be instant. So we have this dude approaching, and it's party time. It's time to get down to business. So then I think we're going to cut to the roof. I think we can get our perspective guide out again and add a 1-point perspective. Let's see, where is my pen?
Hey, Mike, we got a question in the chat that you might be interested in. So,
yes, what is the question?
When you're storyboarding, how much leeway do you have to ask for changes to the story or script generally?
It depends on what your station on the production is. If you're the EP, you're the executive producer, you can call any note you want because you're running the show. It's your show. If you're a storyboard artist, you should probably check with your director first. Because, you know, your idea and their idea of what should be may be very drastically different things. I didn't set my 1-point perspective, but that's all right. I'm going to do that now. Okay.
Have you found on productions that you're able to like have conversations with the director or EP and either make changes or
yes,
have a bit more? Yeah.
Yes. It depends on the production. It depends on how tightly the EPs or the supervisors hold to the reins. You know, some people are very, you know, collaborative, and they're you know, often open to various suggestions. Some aren't. You know?
And there are shows where like storyboard artists have a lot of leeway, and there are storyboard there are shows that are a bit more script driven.
Yes, it just depends on the production that you're on and the people you're working with. You know, a lot of time when you're not like right in the center of it and you're working, you know, in a job that's not necessarily in entertainment production, you kind of think that there's just like one way that everything is done. But really, no. It just depends on the people that you're working with, what kind of project it is, and even what studio you're working for in some cases. And your job in the pipeline, you know? When I was working on The Simpsons for a long time in meetings, I just would be there and be quiet and just listen to what's going on until I felt like I could make a suggestion and people wouldn't look at me like, well, who's this guy? What is he doing making suggestions in the meeting, you know? So know your audience, know the room. So then we have, let's do the overhang here. Down more. And we're not going to do tones and things like that right now, but we will do foreground tough guy. And right before we do this, we're going to just give the background just a different grayish color so we can have our characters pop out against the background a bit better. All right, foreground, tough dude, guard, turn our perspective guide off.
You can tell someone's tough because they're squinting.
He's on the lookout.
Yeah.
Put the earpiece in. And then he's wearing like a fancy looking suit. But still packing some heat. So it's, again, going back to proper firearms etiquette. So let's see. I think a pistol grip shotgun is appropriate here, don't you?
As a Canadian, I have very few opinions about this.
Okay, fair enough. Probably not. We're just gonna say that that's what he's got because it's just easier to draw at the moment.
Yeah.
You know. I take it Canadians and firearms aren't very often associated.
It depends.
Unless you're a hunter up in the Yukon somewhere.
There are a lot of people who hunt in Canada. I am not one of them.
That's okay. All right. So, and he's kind of a bigger, bulkier personality. And I think, you know, I'm going to rescind that comment about not adding any tone. I feel like it's warranted here. We just need to have something to give a little bit of atmosphere like we were talking about before. And in boards, that's often just a matter of adding a little bit of extra lighting. And in this case, you can see that my lines and this color are the same. So we should probably not do that. All right, now this guy, I'm going to do a draw behind on my pen. So let me just get to that setting. I'm going to put my guides back down so I can have a little bit of screen real estate here. Just going to grab this brush. And one thing that is good to know is that if you're doing draw behind on the same layer and not on a matte layer, that you should have the draw behind on, but you want to do the thing that's at the top of that order because it's always going to draw behind, right? So I'm going to add this little bit of rim light on this guy. And then afterward, I'm going to come through and do the rest of it. And since he's not super important, we don't need to see the whites of his eyes. Right? And that should snap behind any moment. There you go.
That looks really nice.
Okay. So next thing we need to do is we need to see Homeboy the Spy enter in. So I think that he is down here. He's going to just have one hand up, and we're going to put a little arrow that has him come up. And then since we're boarding and we're not animating, we can just have that same sort of thing happen. And, you know, in animatics, there's always stuff that you can do. Like in this case, we can always just take this guy and move him a little bit so we have some motion. So it looks like he's like walking. And then we'll get back on our layer with our spy. It's our super master spy, and have him very deftly hop over. I'm going to get my pen a little bit thicker on that to go around faster. Again, since we're not concerned about pretty drawings at the moment, we're concerned about getting the story told.
Yeah. I feel like gesture drawings really help with this.
Gesture drawing is really, really important. Very, very important. So, like, you know, dudes like Norman LeMay and Matt Jones, you know, anything from the Copeland brothers, they're all going to be very, very gesturally Awesome. Those are just people that I know off the top of my head. There's probably there's a ton more people that have really good gesture drawing skills, and maybe we'll add just a little bit of highlight to make things interesting. Okay, so you got him coming up. I think we can even do one more pose of him landing. We'll turn off our guides. Don't need those on right now. Up. And we're just going to add those little highlights back, and we'll put his eyes in. I don't know. This sort of like cloak and dagger sneaking around stuff is always really fun to mess with. I mean, the guys that did the infiltration sequence from Incredibles must have had a ball with that one. When Mrs. Incredible is infiltrating the stronghold. And that was a really fun sequence. All right, let's make sure that he still looks like him. And let's see. I think a good way that a lot of filmmakers do this to show dudes getting taken out is with silhouettes on a wall. Which, we have a nice perspective on this background here. Then we can, increase that perspective. Let's get another perspective guide. Oops, that's the wrong button to push.
We've already established rim lights too, so there's a hard light coming from somewhere.
Yes, exactly. Let's get a 2-point perspective. And we can get like let's get that down a little bit lower. So let's move this whole thing down here. And that way we can really get a good perspective. Then we'll put a doorway right here. Set up that there's going to be something coming in there. And these are shut. This can look like it's open. And then we'd hear the, and then maybe we see just part of the guy fall in, and then another one just sort of topple over the other way. So let's go ahead and we will grab this, and then we will just paste it on. But using our color picker, we can just cut and paste back over, and then problem solved. Also, we can put in some lighting. So I'm just going to cut that and put it on the layer above, just so we can add a little bit of lighting to this here. It's going to be some softer lighting, so we will get out a different brush. Let's get out one of these. Oh, got to turn our guide off.
Mike, when you're looking for productions to work on, do you look for productions that you personally enjoy? And do you feel that's important to be effective as an artist on a production?
It's always better to work on a project that you're really into. I mean, not all of us work on projects that we're super into all the time, but there's like things that are sort of like, I don't know, redeeming qualities about them. Like, I may not like everything that happens in a show, but I like this, and that, you know? I think it's good to choose the production if you can. Sometimes it's just a matter of getting hired. But if you have the choice of a production, then sure, yeah, for sure. So, sound effects of suppressed gunfire, you know, and then we're going to have some silhouettes collapsing in the foreground. So let's go on a different layer, and we'll add, increase the size of that brush. And we're not going to humanize these characters because they are cannon fodder.
It's the next episode where we humanize them.
Yeah, it's the next episode where they have the gangster funeral, and all the other gangsters are there, and they say, "He was a beautiful man," or something, you know. I don't know of what, because, you know, there's different mobsters from all over the world, and each of them have different accents and different ways they treat funerals, and, you know, what are these mobsters? Are these like South American,
New Zealand
drug dealers? Oh, these are New Zealanders. Okay. Is that what you have in the chat, or was that off the top of your head?
Just because I thought it'd be funny.
Okay. Let's see what the chat says. See what the chat says. What kind of gangster mobster people are these? Ooh, and dude takes a dive. So it's also important that you show things going in and out. I feel like showing something just at the bottom of the screen goes a long way in an animatic to like making the action feel a little bit more real.
Someone doesn't just pop in, pop out.
Yeah, popping in and popping out is generally bad. You want to give it just a little bit. So like if we put this little bit of something into here, then when we go through it, I'll put on the camera view just so you know. Like it goes over, I think, a little bit better. Switching back and forth between the camera view and the stage view is also a really helpful thing in Storyboard Pro, because then you get more of a sense of the cinematic of it all. So, ooh, and thump on the ground. On this one, he's gone. And then on this one, I think we can start to bring homeboy over here in. And then as he's falling, this guy takes his dive. So thump, and then
the henchman union really needs better representation in the bargaining agreement.
What?
I feel like the henchman union needs like some really strong representation in their bargaining agreement. Like you want to have a good health plan, you want to have life insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine though that illicit organizations probably don't want to call too much attention to themselves. There's always, the occasional League of Doom or something like that I could see employees of that, or like Fowl from DuckTales having some sort of a union. Okay, so those guys are down, and then we can have our hero come in, and we can see the cause of the fall is not Walther PPK. Still smoking. So it comes in, and then, thump. Comes in. Now, I think it would be important to have a new shot to the interior of this little building. I'm going to go back to stage view. So we can have a proper introduction. And then, of course, some lavish looking drapery. And some sort of excellent looking potted plants or something that just makes the place look a little bit more opulent, I'm just going to take these guys, since we're running out of time, rapidly copy and paste them, flop them, and just scoot them on over. Symmetry is another sign of opulence, just so you know. Maybe it's because it basically says I can afford two of everything. Yeah, exactly. You beat me to the punch, man. Okay, and so we have the interior of there, and I think at this point we do want to have a little bit of tone, but since this is well lit inside, the tone will come outside. So again, I'm going to turn on my fill-in. Have that come in like this, and that, and this, and that. And it's not filling in because I didn't totally finish the whole thing. You have to connect the lines, folks. And in these larger brushes, sometimes getting that center line to connect takes a little bit extra effort on our part. All right, so BG, let's go back to our other brush. Turn up the brush a little bit and come back to here because the doorway does need a little bit of thickness too. So I'll draw behind on. Let's turn that off. For those of you not in the know, if you hold down Shift and Alt at the same time, you can draw perpendicular lines without having to use a perspective guide. Handy stuff. Peoples.
Always useful.
Okay, so we've got the doorway, and we're gonna we're gonna take all of this stuff here and cut it, put it on a different layer. We're gonna put it on an overlay underlay layer, and then take this stuff, put it on the BG layer, because now we have an overlay. We're going to have it, the character sort of slide into here. And we need to have some space for this particular character to operate. Also, we should put in the outer railing. This would probably be on the veranda, so it would be slightly curved. Oops, that's the zoom button. Yeah.
Get a really close look.
A quick Shift M later, and we're back in business. Let's give that a nice curvature.
And that way there's some continuity between that scene and this scene.
Yeah. And we have the railing here. Let's put in some of the palm trees and that sort of night sky that we've got going on. Maybe some of the bushes and stuff that he crawled out of. Just some set dressing. It just needs some set dressing. There's maybe some buildings or something in the background, or no, this is a private estate. It would be far out into the country or something, somewhere where he can't get help readily. And then we have our guy showing up again in his super cool spy outfit, which in a very James Bond move, he's going to ditch for the tuxedo. We don't want to give him the eyebrow up yet. It's still all spy business. With his cool accoutrement, excuse me. Said that wrong.
Yeah. We didn't quite get to the second character, but do we want to do a quick run through of the animatic since we have about 5 minutes left?
Yeah, let's do just a quick thing. I'm going to make a copy of this, and he's going to do a tear off.
It's a nice touch. And then the eyebrow comes up.
Yes, exactly. It's just the very James Bondish white dinner jacket. All this other stuff. And we are going to do one more shot, just really fast, of him in the doorway. And what is in here is not hard-boiled criminal stuff. It is sleeping child. Let's give him a race car bed. I think even a monster would have the heart to give their child a race car bed.
Now, if they haven't been good, the brake lines might be cut.
That's funny. Just a little one. Or you know what might even be even better is if he's already awake. Let's make it a little girl.
Holding a stuffed animal dangling by like a leg or something.
All right, yeah, just make sure the eye line is connecting there too. There's the doorway. You know, she would be like half asleep. Something that he did not expect. Doorway over here. You need to see her in sort of like silhouette of the doorway, maybe. Because she would sort of be in the way of his progress.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to make it a 4-poster bed because we don't want to interrupt this eye line. So compositionally, we need to put other information out of the way. So this would be like a bed or something with some stuffed animals and then other paraphernalia in the room. Maybe some cool lighting or little, girly looking things. But Yeah, so let's run through. We have the basic setup of this. All right, cool. So we're starting on ominous looking mansion. We hear the sounds of partying and reveling going on underneath. There are guards that are arming the place, and we should also have our consistent props. Add that. And who do we have but our not James Bond come in and look about the place? He comes into the light, smiles, holding up his trusty suppressed weapon. Let's give him cooler eyebrows. We come up on a guard that is doing his patrol. And we're going to get our hero out of here because he's not in this part yet. He's on patrol, and then we have our man coming up and getting in position. And then cutting to the side of the house, we see, or we hear, and then, oh, thump, thump. See the instrument of their downfall. He walks into the doorway, and then one tearaway set of spy clothes later, he's in his spy outfit. And then we see that suddenly his world is turned upside down as he is faced with an innocent-looking child who behind that teddy bear is a Tommy gun. So, yeah, there's the twist.
All right, we got there.
Cool, we got there.
Right.
Yeah, way to go. Good suggestion, chat.
Thank you so much for joining us once again for Collaboratory. Do you have any projects or topics you'd like to draw our attention to this week?
Oh goodness. You know what? I just want everybody to have a fantastic holiday and take your time this season and reflect on all the artistic goals that you have for the new year, and work really hard to get those in there. You know, art is a thing that is a lifelong endeavor, and it takes a long time to really get good at what you're doing. But to have patience, keep going. You're doing good.
All right, and I'd like to thank everyone who joined us for Collaboratory. I know there are comments in the chat asking for us to make these episodes longer, but if you want to watch previous episodes, you can find them both on Twitch and on YouTube. And today, Mike Morris drew a spy thriller in just under an hour. So just think about what stories you could tell in 3 weeks. If you'd like to try your hand at storyboarding, you can download a 21-day trial of Storyboard Pro from our website. That's toonboom.com. And this Thursday on our live stream, we'll be speaking with Ollie Putland about his rig, The Empress, made using Harmony Premium, and his experience making 2D cutout characters. You won't want to miss it, so be sure to tune in next time.
Also, we may be able to be making these Storyboard Pro files available from all our previous collaboratories for any of you to play around with, mess with, or finish off the stories. We'd love to see how you guys would plan on finishing some of these.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that.
All right, we'll see you guys in the new year.